Hey guys, this is Rosa Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm here to talk about all the books that I read on the month of June. I know this is a little bit late, but here we are. Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel. I hope that you guys are doing well. It's been a while since I recorded a video, so me and the girls were on vacation and we just came back, so I'm a little bit late with this video, but I definitely wanted to talk about all these books because yeah, I already started with my July books and I don't want to get them all mixed up, and I read so many good books this month. So the first book that I read is People We Meet on Vacation. This book is by Emily Henry, and this was the perfect summer read by the beach, definitely. So on this book, we're following Alex and Poppy, and they are basically best friends since the beginning of time. They have been best friends forever, and they always go on to these yearly trips together on the summer. So they used to go on these vacations every year, and on the book we are kind of following back what happened, because suddenly they stop seeing each other and Poppy is trying to reconnect with Alex and kind of rebuild their friendship. So she decides to ask him out on, another trip once again, and you kind of see their interaction now on the present and what has happened throughout the years, and then you can see them kind of rebuilding their friendship and basically falling in love. This book gives you a lot of summer vibes. I absolutely love traveling with them to all these different places and experiencing all what each city had to offer when they go visit, and of course learning about their friendship, their relationship, and how they actually fall in love. Another book that gave me a lot of summer vibes was Malibu Rising, and this is by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and this book was absolutely amazing. So on this book we are following this family that lives in Malibu, and at the beginning I was thinking like this is gonna be another rich family drama, which it was, but you can kind of see the beginnings of how this family basically lived in Malibu before it became this very popular like movie star destination. This book we're following the story of 4 siblings and how Nina, who is the older sister, tries to keep their family together and basically becomes a parent figure for all of them. You also see how the decisions that your parents make carry on to your own life and how to find the strength to finally break that cycle. This book made me cry. It just has so many different elements that make you think and make you wonder what would happen if, what if, and it's just so heartbreaking, but it was an excellent book. I think the way this book was written was genius. The author has the way of making the story make it feel like it's yours, like it's your life, like it's your story, so you connect with the characters so much. The next 2 books that I read were by Sally Rooney. I read Normal People. On this book we are kind of following the complex relationship of these 2 people who basically fall in love, but they don't know how to communicate their feelings, and they have been so influenced by the way they have been raised and by what others think of they should be doing, that it just kind of makes a really interesting study on people behavior and what you feel like you deserve for your life based on what you come from, based on what you have experienced as a child. And so I just absolutely love exploring the characters, and I think the book was brilliant. And the other book that I read also by Sally Rooney is Beautiful World, Where Are You? This book I didn't enjoy too much, although you do kind of have the same exploration of the characters. I just feel like there were too many elements on this book that definitely could have been taken out for you to understand the message. So there was a lot of like intimate, very detailed conversations that I just felt like, okay, I got it, I get the point. But it was like almost on every chapter, and it just honestly made me a little bit uncomfortable to read at some points. I didn't understand the message, and I don't think I care for it very much. Next book that I read is The Sea of Tranquility. This is by Emily St. John Mandel. I also read The Glass Hotel. So if you are going to read this book, I recommend that you read a little bit of The Glass Hotel before, because there's some mentions to that hotel on this book as well. I think it just makes it a little bit easier to understand when they reference to that. But there's no spoilers. See, if you haven't read The Glass Hotel, you can still definitely read this book. But for me, this book was excellent. I just absolutely love the elements of time travel. So we're following Edwin, who is this violin player on the 1900s, and he finds this secret passage in the woods, and that leads you to the future. And then we also following Olive, who lives on the 2400s, and she lives on this colony on the moon after this pandemic has happened that basically wiped the whole world. And so she is traveling to the earth to promote a book that she wrote about the pandemic, and somehow she connects with the violin player on the woods. So interesting to see the time traveling aspects and how you can possibly alter the timeline of the universe. So I just enjoyed this book so much. Next book that I read is Anne of Green Gables. This is by Ellen Montgomery. So this is a book that I've been wanting to read forever, and I am now also watching the Netflix series based on this book, and it's just so beautiful. I love all the vibes, the vintage look, the farm, just everything about it I absolutely love. So on this book, of course, we are following Anne, and she is an orphan. So she was adopted by this family who at first wanted a boy to help in the farm, but somehow, because the way that she is, how she loves to talk, and she has this beautiful creative mind, and she's always telling stories, she kind of won the heart of the family, and they decided to keep her. And then you can see all of the adventures that she gets to, and a lot of the difficult times that she gets to as well, figuring out like this growing up thing. And I just loved that. It was so beautiful. And so then I read some mystery thrillers, and so this one here is The Family Plot. This book is by Megan Collins, and for me this book was amazing. I just love everything about it. On this book, we're following Dahlia, and she basically goes back to her family house after her father passes away, and they grew up on this very strange family. They live in an island on a huge mansion, and basically the mom was obsessed with true crime because her parents were murdered, so she was obsessed with serial killers. And she has this really strange dynamic of teaching her kids, because her kids were homeschooled, and she will teach them everything based on serial killers. Like, their reading was based on serial killers, their writing and their analysis was built around that. And then they find themselves at the center of attention, because when they go back to the house when the father passes away, they discover that their son that went missing was also buried on the property as well. And then so you're following Dahlia on her trying to discover what happened to her brother. That was her twin brother. So she had this really strong connection with him, and you discover family secret after family secret. And again, it was so engaging. I did not expect what was happening. Like, some of these I knew, like some aspects of the book I knew they were coming. I could anticipate that, but that was just like a little piece of the puzzle to everything that you discover on this book, and I highly recommend it. The next book that I read is Insomnia. This is by Sarah Pingbor, and she's also the writer of Behind Her Eyes. That is a show on Netflix. I also want to read that book before I watch the show. But on this book, we are following Emma, and she is about to turn 40. So when her mom turned 40, her mom had this insomnia, so she couldn't sleep anymore, and basically she had a mental crisis, and something really tragic happened on her family. And now that she's approaching that age, she is just worried. She's up all night thinking. She's worried about kind of having the same episodes as her mother did. And it's just so interesting, the build up of the book, how she can on one side she can't go to sleep because she's worried that she's gonna do the same thing that her mother did. But at the same time, you're like, well, if you fall asleep, then you won't have the same problems. But her overthinking of everything is making her not sleep anymore. So she kind of is going following her mother's steps, if you know what I mean. I know it's hard to explain, but you definitely have to read the book. Of course, the book also has a plot twist, and then you finally find out what happened to her when she was little, what the mother did, and who her friends are around, and what is all this mystery. So I thought this book was so interesting, so engaging as well, and definitely one that keeps you wondering what will happen next. The last two books that I read were the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. So I read volume 1 and 2, and this is a 3-way series, so I can't wait to read the third book. This was so good. Again, another super engaging mystery solving book. I absolutely love the concept of this book, and if you pair this with the audiobook, it just makes your whole experience so much better, because you have like a full cast of members on the audiobook, and the way they edit the audiobook is kind of like you're listening to all the interviews and the recordings and all the sound effects that they put in it. It's almost like as if you're watching like a movie, and I love this. So on the first book, we are following Pep, and she is this high school senior working on a project on how to, you know, like solve a mystery case, and she ends up getting very involved with the murder of this girl, or disappearance of this girl, another high school student years before. And so she went missing, and basically her boyfriend was the one to blame, and she kind of knew there was more to that by looking at all the different clues that she was finding when she was interviewing everyone who was involved on the case. So she kind of builds this timeline of events, and you just follow her step by step, the things that she is discovering. It's just so interesting, so engaging. Absolutely loved it. On the second book, we're also following Pep, but this time she was approached by somebody on the neighborhood because somebody else went missing, and the police basically wouldn't do anything about it because this person was over 18, and they just said that they couldn't investigate anymore. So she is approached by the family to kind of help lead an internal investigation and find out what happened to this person that went missing. And it just has the same tones, the same vibes, and I just love this so much. And again, I can't wait to read the next book on this series. And so those are all the books that I read on the month of June. I think there were a lot of really good books on this list. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have read any of these books and what you thought. I will be back with my list of books that I'm reading on July, and I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.